Part 42. The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 412. But what he actually got were fruits and vegetables. Although the market price of these fruits and vegetables is much higher than that of food, they cannot be used to relieve the hungry people in the base. Looking at Len Ning, who was smiling innocently and brightly, Zhang Lan felt a little angry inside, but she didn't dare to show off her face directly. As long as Uncle Zhang likes it, Len Ning said to Zhang Lan with a smile. It was as if he didn't see the displeasure in Zhang Yan's eyes at all. To be honest with Uncle Zhang, I am planning to build a winery next to produce some fruit wine and grain wine for sale. If you like it, I can give you and the jar separately, Len Ning continued. For a moment, everyone in the room looked at Len Ning. The shock and anger in his eyes could not be concealed. Again? So the gift this girl gave to their eldest brother/father was wine? What a waste. Either spoiled fruit or spoiled grain. Their eldest brother/father likes liquor, which is probably a waste of food. Brewing consumes a lot of grain. That's food that can fill your stomach. What happened? Len Ning asked, pretending to be afraid. In fact, she had no idea what was going on. She uses grain to make wine, which is definitely a top stimulus for these people. After all, there is too much food shortage in their base, and people are starving to death. In ancient times, during times of famine, the court would order a ban on alcohol in order to save food. It is a pity that extravagance among the bureaucracy and the wealthy gentry has become common. Even though the law is promulgated, there are still many people selling and drinking wine secretly, which shows how powerful wine is. Society has always been like this. No matter how bad the environment is, there are always some people who can allocate the best resources and get the best enjoyment. The winery is here to make money from these people. She had given birth to all the food, so who could judge her from the moral high ground? Judgment is useless, she only believes in her own way. Everyone quickly put away the emotions they shouldn't have on their faces. Haha, then I'll thank Xiao Ning first. Zhang Lan broke the silence and took the lead to say cheerfully to Len Ning. Uncle Zhang, you're welcome. Len Ning immediately had a smile on his face, as if he didn't take any emotion into his heart. Suddenly I remembered that I still have some things to deal with. Zhang Huai, take Xiao Ning down to rest first. Zhang Lan smiled at Len Ning, and then said to Zhang Huai in a deep voice. Yes. Zhang Huai quickly stepped forward. Len Ning looked at Zhang Huai with a smile, looking like he liked him very much. After a while, he turned around and said goodbye to Zhang Lan. Uncle Zhang, please be busy first. Teacher Zhang and I are leaving first. Then he followed Zhang Huai with a look of carelessness. It wasn't until he walked out of the study that Len Ning let out a long sigh of relief. Zhang Huai couldn't help but chuckle. Are you nervous? Len Ning raised the corner of his mouth and said, your eldest brother just missed me with his eyes. Can you not be nervous? Oh, are you still deliberately provocative? Zhang Huai asked jokingly. Afraid of Zhang Lin? He saw that she was not afraid of anyone inside. As for the sigh just now, it was probably because I was tired of pretending to be silly. Haha, isn't this just to give you a way to vent your anger, teacher? Len Ning winked at Zhang Huai. Zhang Huai's expression froze. He coughed lightly and looked away. I'll take you to the guest room first. Then he looked around and said. The people in the city lord's mansion are very mixed-minded. Although I and Len Ning had a teacher-student relationship before the end of the world, it was normal to be so good, but I still had to be careful to avoid being caught. The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 413. Okay. Len Ning suppressed his smile and followed Zhang Huai. Finally, Zhang Huai brought Len Ning to the place where he would stay. This is a quite large courtyard with a very elegant environment. It should be considered a better courtyard in the city lord's mansion. You stay here temporarily. There will be servants to take care of you later. If you need anything, you can tell them directly, Zhang Huai said, leading Len Ning through the door. Where are you and Xing and the others? Len Ning asked. They live in the rooms next to you. A smile appeared on Zhang Huai's face, but they shouldn't be around at this time. What? Len Ning was a little confused. I asked Yan Yu to arrange for someone to take them out for a walk, especially you and Xing. The classmates miss him very much. Yan Yu took him to meet his classmates, Zhang Huai said with a smile. Len Ning glanced at Zhang Huai. We've all gone out to play, what about me? When she came to Quanglin Base, she didn't want to stay in the room until the banquet was over tomorrow. Don't worry, the city lord has already arranged for me to accompany you all the way. In the past few days, you can just eat and have fun in the Quanglin Base. How many days? Len Ning instantly caught the key point of Zhang Huai's words. You've come here, but you won't have to leave the next day, Zhang Huai said with a smile. Ahem, I can't live without my vegetable base. Len Ning cleared his throat and said, I'm a busy man. Zhang Huai smiled, things have to be discussed slowly, right? This little girl is getting more and more weird. Why didn't you notice her temperament before the end of the world? So, Uncle Zhang sent you to test my tone and give me some advice. That old fox has such a good abacus. Zhang Huai gave Len Ning a look that said, aren't you asking questions knowingly? Len Ning waved his hand, sure. Of course, the teacher's face must be given, he treated it as a holiday for himself. Anyway, according to her original plan, she planned to stay at Quanglin Base for a few days. Naughty Zhang Huai was helpless, smiling and shaking his head. Haha. So Teacher Zhang, do you want to take me out to play now? Len Ning looked at Zhang Huai with a smile. Okay. Zhang Huai drew out his final tone. Ever since, Zhang Huai took Len Ning out of the city lord's mansion again. At the same time, Zhang Lan was discussing with his people about Len Ning in the study. Humph, that girl is clearly trying to humiliate us. In my opinion, there is no need to give her a good look, just kick her out, Zhang Lin said angrily to the crowd. The two middle-aged men frowned. Zhang Yian's face was also a little ugly. What nonsense are you talking about? Then he said angrily to Zhang Lin, who is that girl? Let's not talk about anything else. They are here to give gifts. Just because the gift is not what you want, are you going to kick them out? Zhang Lan looked at Zhang Lindao. There was quite a bit of anger in his eyes that he hated iron for not becoming steel. Zhang Lin lowered his head. Some regret, impulsively speaking out what was on my mind. Yes. Besides, that girl is Thunder's sister, and now she is the leader of the 5th branch of Thunder Base. When she comes here, she represents Thunder Base, said a middle-aged man. He was a gangster before the end of Lele. He killed people without batting an eye. I don't dare to go against him, another middle-aged man said. Zhang Lin, you are Quanglin's future successor. You can't be so impulsive, a middle-aged man continued. On this point, you really need to learn from Zhang Huai. As soon as these words came out, everyone in the room had different expressions. Zhang Lin even clenched his hands into fists. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 414. However, it only took a moment for Zhang Lin to loosen his fist. Zhang Lin, please remember your second uncle's teachings, then he said in a deep voice. Zhang Huai, even his second uncle hooked up with him. Very good. The middle-aged man glanced at Zhang Lin, who lowered his head with complicated eyes. That girl has a noble status and holds great power. You must not be hostile to her again. Yes, Zhang Lin replied. Hey, actually she is just an ignorant little girl, why do you bother with her? Or, you can just imitate Zhang Huai and leave a good impression on her, or even dash another middle-aged man smiled, he said, but didn't say anything else. Zhonglin was silent. A flash of emotion flashed in the eyes of Zhonglan and the middle-aged man in the room. I heard that Xiaonazai is almost 18 years old. If you can capture her heart and tie Quanglin and Thunder Base together, why should we worry about big things happening in the future? Another middle-aged man's eyes were filled with tears. Silk evil color. Zhonglin's heart trembled. The resentment just now was finally reduced by half. Third uncle is right. I am too impatient then, he said respectfully. She was just a girl who was less than 18 years old. How much hatred could she have towards him when they met her for the first time? The reason why she hates herself so much must be because she listened to Zhang Huai's words. Third uncle is right, as long as he can capture that girl, who in the Quanglin base will dare to question him in the future. And over at Thunder Base, whether it's food or arms, he won't be able to get as much as he wants. Even, with the power in that girl's hands, he may not be able to take over the Thunder Base in one fell swoop. As for what happened to that girl in the end, he would let her know the consequences of despising him. Zhonglin. Seeing Zhonglin's reaction, Zhonglan sighed. Although I have arranged for Zhang Huai to take care of the girl these days, you can also come over. Since you are going, please put aside what you are doing for the next few days and be sure to keep that girl with you. He had actually thought about this before, but had not made this decision. His son, he knew. Zhonglin has an arrogant and impulsive personality. Because of his good looks and good family background, he has always been very proud in love. But Len Ning was not an ordinary woman. He specially sent someone to inquire about that girl. That girl's true nature is by no means as simple as what they see. His son might be looked down upon by other women, but that girl might not look down on him. But, whatever, let him try his luck. If it really fell into that girl's eyes, it would be a huge good thing for their Quanglin base. He can also leave the Quanglin base to him with peace of mind. As for Zhang Huai, in fact, he could also see clearly that the child was better than Zhonglin in terms of character and ability. It's a pity that his background is not as good as Zhonglin's, so even if he wanted to promote him, he wouldn't be able to. The appearance of girl Len Ning this time gave Zhang Huai a chance. If he could really win the little princess from Thunder Base, he wouldn't mind giving her a chance despite the pressure. No matter what, that child is also his son. Next, if Quanglin wants to develop, it needs the help of the Thunder Base. Yes, father, Zhonglin's eyes let out a cold light. Go down. Zhonglan nodded to his son and then waved to him. Zhonglin raised his head, saluted the three elders in the room, and then exited the room. Just wait, next, he will let that girl fall in love with him. Thinking of Len Ning being completely obedient to him in the future, Zhonglin's eyes flashed with determination to win. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 415. On the other side, Zhang Huai had already taken Len Ning to an outdoor roller skating rink. According to what Zhang Huai said, the students are all there now. As soon as the two arrived, a group of people gathered around and welcomed Len Ning with compliments. Len Ning scanned everyone's faces one by one and found that Han Yu was not there. As soon as a hint of displeasure appeared on her face, she saw Yan Yu wink at her. Len Ning didn't say much, calmed down his emotions, and after saying a few words to everyone, he went aside with his roller skates. At this time, someone happened to come to report that there was something going on with Zhang Huai. After hearing the report, Zhang Huai said he was leaving for a while. Len Ning said he didn't mind and let Zhang Huai go. As soon as Zhang Huai went out, Yan Yu came up to him. Master Len. Yan Yu smiled and clasped his fists at Len Ning in a salute gesture. Len Ning glanced up at Yan Yu, lowered his head and continued to put on his roller skates. Didn't you say that all the classmates are here? Why is there one person missing? He asked coldly. She had told him before that she told teacher Zhang to entertain Han Yu well. But along the way, she deliberately tested teacher Zhang many times, but found that he didn't seem to know about it at all. Yan Yu raised the corner of his mouth and said, "Han Yu, she is already dead." Len Ning's hand that was tying his shoelaces was startled. "Don't worry, Hall Master Leng. He only announced that he is dead but is still alive," Yan Yu hurriedly whispered. Len Ning relaxed a little and continued to tie his shoelaces. "What's going on? Where is the person?" he then asked. "According to your instructions, I will send someone to deal with her after returning to Quanglin. First let her identity die, and then after some torture, she was thrown into the red kill," Yan Yu said with a hint of contempt. Thinking of the shameless way the woman begged him and the disgusting scene of her moaning and moaning under several men, he only felt disgusted. Quanglin Base, like other bases, has many black and grey industries. Hongkill is one of them. It is full of women who have been trafficked exclusively for men's pleasure. As the lowest class kill in Quanglin Base, most of the customers are from the middle and lower classes. Many of them are not looking for women for sexual pleasure, but sometimes to vent their anger and despair. How long a woman who enters a red kill can survive basically depends on luck. He knew that Len Ning would come to Quanglin sooner or later, and he had specifically told them to greet Han Yu well but not to torture him to death. So, currently the woman is still alive. Len Ning had already put on his roller skates and was ready to get up. Yan Yu hurriedly stepped forward and gave Len Ning a hand. Glancing at Len Ning's beautiful profile, Yan Yu lost consciousness for a moment. Len Ning quickly let go of Yan Yu and slid out. "Follow up then," he said to Yan Yu lightly. Yes, Yan Yu raised his lips and hurried to follow. "Didn't you tell teacher Zhang about this?" Len Ning skated in front, and Yan Yu followed her cooperatively. "No," Yan Yu replied, "teacher Zhang is too kind. I'm worried that he won't be able to bear it." "This matter dash," Yan Yu suddenly spoke. "Can you not let teacher Zhang know? Although Han Yu was not a thing, she was once their classmate. If teacher Zhang knew that he had done such a thing to Han Yu, he was worried that teacher Zhang would have any objections to him." "Haha, you have thought carefully about teacher Zhang. He did the dirty work himself, maintaining his innocent and noble image." "Teacher Zhang, you are a good leader," Yan Yu said seriously. "He deserves what he has done for him. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse." Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 416. Len Ning curled his lips. "Whether it's good or bad, I don't care. As long as he can do what I want, I can cooperate with him. Is it really that noble? Give me a break." Yan Yu was working under him. If he really cared about his classmates as he said, how could he not notice or act at all if something happened to Han Yu? Furthermore, he himself said before that Zhang Lan arranged for him to leave work these days to spend time with her. So what happened when someone came to him just now and asked him to handle something? Didn't he leave intentionally to let Yan Yu get close to him? Then let her know what she wants to care about naturally. Yan Yu wanted to explain to Len Ning that teacher Zhang really didn't know. But even as he spoke, he still gave up. Forget it, she had already determined what she was thinking, and he was afraid that he would make her unhappy if he argued with her. Teacher Zhang really needs the help of Thunder Base. Whatever conditions you have, we will find a way to help you achieve them, Yan Yu said in a deep voice. A group of their classmates are now counting on teacher Zhang. Only when teacher Zhang is in power can they make a difference in Quanglin. It's not urgent. After I meet Han Yu, I will talk to teacher Zhang, Len Ning said calmly. Yan Yu's eyes flashed. When can I go see Han Yu? Len Ning asked. Just tonight, Yan Yu said immediately. As soon as the words came out, I felt something was wrong. Although the Hongkill is open day and night, the peak is at night, and almost all the people coming in and out are from various religions. After all, Len Ning was a girl, and she was very beautiful. I'm afraid it will cause trouble then. But now teacher Zhang was ordered to accompany and take care of Len Ning. It was impossible for him to take Len Ning out alone during the day, so he could only find opportunities and time at night. Okay, Len Ning's eyes flashed with a cold light. After dinner, pick me up at the door of the city lord's mansion. Yes, Yan Yu suppressed his emotions and replied in a deep voice. Then, Len Ning suddenly dived and rushed towards Yuan Xing, who was not far away. Afterwards, he laughed and played with everyone. Yan Yu stood there for a long time, looking at Len Ning, who was smiling heartily, in a daze. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, how could he believe that the woman who spoke coldly and sharply just now was the same person as the dazzling girl on the scene now? As Len Ning expected, Zhang Huai soon handled the matter and came back. After greeting everyone, Zhang Huai also put on roller skates and joined everyone's team. Then, a group of people played games on the roller skating rink, and the scene was extremely joyful. 2 hours later, everyone had enough fun and it was almost noon. That's it for today. It's almost noon, and I've made a reservation at Ruyahu to cleanse myself of classmate Len Ning, Zhang Huai said to everyone with a smile. The students immediately shouted "Oh!" and cheered with joy. Ruyahu is the best restaurant in our Quanglan base. The food is top-notch and the consumption is extremely high. It is the private property of the second city lord, Yan Yu explained to Len Ning in a low voice. Oh, Len Ning responded. There was no unnecessary emotion in his eyes. How good can it be? Can it compare to Lin's restaurant in their Thunder base? The vegetable base has limited grain and vegetable crops for sale to the outside world, and the livestock and poultry at the Thunder base are only for use by the base. The so-called skillful woman cannot cook without rice. Without ingredients, even the best cook cannot make delicious dishes. What's more, she doesn't believe that there are restaurants in China that can cook better Chinese food than Lin's. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 417. Seeing Len Ning's reaction, the smile on Yan Yu's face faded. How could I forget that Len Ning is the princess of Thunder Base? How can the good things she enjoys be compared to them? The group of people joked with each other and walked towards Ruyahu in a lively manner. Len Ning also visited the streets of Quanglan Base. It doesn't look messy, but it doesn't look too angry. Most of the things sold on the street are daily necessities, with very few food supplies. Finally, I saw a lively building, and when I passed by, I realized that it turned out to be a gambling den. Len Ning was a little surprised. The three old men of the Zhang family are self-proclaimed intellectuals. Even if there are some black and gray industries in the base, they are secretive and will not be exposed to the public. It's interesting that there is such a luxurious gambling house on this main street. After passing in front of the casino, Zhang Huai walked a little faster, as if he was afraid of hearing the noisy sound inside. Seeing Len Ning's interest, Yan Yu came forward and said, "This Wanqi gambling hall is the property of the three city lords and has just opened. Because it is a public house, there are many people who support it. The three city lords of Quanglan Base only appear to be benevolent and moral on the surface, but in fact each of them runs some unspeakable things. This Wanqi gambling hall has even been officially moved to the stage. There is nothing we can do, this is the end of the world, and many people are living a life of today and no tomorrow. Especially those with special abilities who often go on missions and have a strong sense of pleasure. Black and gray industries have naturally become the most profitable businesses. In fact, it was only because of the presence of the city lord that Quanglan Base did not completely degenerate into a rogue base full of pornography and gambling like Tanlang Base. Have you been there? Len Ning's eyes were filled with interest. She had heard about this Wanqi gambling hall in her previous life, and heard that there were a lot of fun things in it. The general pai gow dice and the like are just small things, and there are even ones for gambling on life. Superpowers fight against superpowers and place bets. They even captured zombies to fight with people and place bets on them. In short, there is no lower limit. These games are thrilling and exciting, and the ticket price alone is high. It's just that when she heard about Wanchi Gambling House, it was already a few years after the end of the world, and the city lord of Quanglin Base at that time was already Zhonglin. Now, according to Yan Yu, this Wanchi Gambling Hall has just been established not long ago. I don't know what the situation is. Yan Yu carefully glanced at Zhang Huai's back. He lowered his voice and said, "I'll tell you the truth from the hall master, I've been there." He was in such a position, so he couldn't help but have some social activities. "Sometimes I just can't escape, so I go." "What's in it? How does it feel?" Len Ning asked curiously. "Speaking of which, she has never been to a place like that." Yan Yu looked a little embarrassed. "Do you really want to go?" "Well, just some pai gow dice and the like. Although these gambling equipment are old, they can most arouse the enthusiasm of gamblers. I heard that some slot machines have been launched recently. Mahjong and cards have been added to the private rooms for VIP customers," Yan Yu continued. His current status is not low, but he has never been to a VIP room. To be honest, he was actually a little curious. Before entering the casino, he had scorned the place and looked down upon it. After entering, I found that it was quite fun inside. Men, maybe they are born to like excitement. "I know a little bit about Mahjong," Len Ning said with a smile. In her previous life, she followed Huo Xiao for a while. After Huo Xiao climbed to a high position, he often played cards with some people. The most popular game is Mahjong. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 418. She followed along and played with it a few times. She could only say that it was a bit interesting. "That's good, let our teacher Zhang take you to have fun," Yan Yu said and glanced at Zhang Huai. Teacher Zhang had a tendency to walk faster when he passed by, so he asked him to play cards in a gambling hall, which was interesting to think about. "Haha, done, when playing cards, it is very suitable for blending and talking." Seeing Len Ning's smile, Yan Yu also laughed. Zhang Huai looked embarrassed. But he had a plan in mind. Finally, Ruyahu arrived. "Director Zhang is here." As soon as the group entered the door, the manager of Ruyahu greeted them. Seeing Len Ning standing next to Zhang Huai, he immediately bowed to Len Ning. "Are you Hall Master Len Ning?" Then he asked Len Ning with excitement. Len Ning had some doubts on his face. "Do you recognize me?" After confirming Len Ning's identity, the manager became even more excited. "I don't recognize it, I don't recognize it. It's because I knew in advance that Director Zhang ordered food, and because you will be at Quanglin Base again today." Len Ning looked startled. Then he looked at Zhang Huai. "Is the information about your Quanglin Base so open and transparent?" Ahem. Zhang Huai cleared his throat. "Don't make this matter public." Then he said to the manager. "Yes, yes. I obey." The manager nodded quickly and bowed. "Take us to the private room," Zhang Huai continued. In order to increase his influence and attract the attention of the upper class, he did deliberately spread the news that his father ordered him to accompany Len Ning these days. So far, it seems that the impact is pretty good. What he has to do next is to let everyone see how good his relationship with Len Ning is. Let them know that he, a bastard, has the support of the Thunder Base, so that he can have a chance to stand out and compete with Zhang Lin. Now that it has begun, there is no turning back. Those people, if they are smart enough, should know how to make choices. Len Ning glanced at Zhang Huai, calmed down his emotions, and said nothing. The manager immediately led the way and took everyone to the private room on the second floor. Then, he went to arrange for the food to be passed around, trying hard to find an opportunity to get in front of Len Ning. However, Len Ning ignored him at all. After causing Jiang Hui's displeasure, the manager did not dare to move forward, and it was his duty to provide food for everyone. When the students saw the dishes being passed around, they couldn't take their eyes away soon. Almost all of these dishes are made from first-class crop vegetables that are not available in the market. There's even meat. Although the meat is limited to fish and eggs, it is still a delicious dish. This is a meat dish. How many people in the entire Quanglan base can still eat meat and fish? As soon as the dishes were served, the dining table that was lively just now suddenly became quiet. Some people even swallowed their saliva. Even Yan Yu and Zhang Hui couldn't help but glance at the pot of pickled fish. Only Len Ning and Yuan Xing looked at the dishes on the table with no surprise at all. Even vaguely disappointed. The manager naturally noticed Len Ning's expression. Ruyahu's ingredients are limited, Hall Master Len, please bear with me. The manager bowed to Len Ning. For a moment, everyone's eyes were focused on Len Ning's face. Len Ning curled his lips and said, "Ahem, can you use the ingredients we provide ourselves?" Then the manager asked. The student's eyes lit up. Len Ning brought the ingredients. I heard that the Thunder base not only has a vegetable base, but also a livestock farm, with all kinds of meat. Yes, yes, the manager looked happy and said hurriedly. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 419. Under the gaze of everyone, Len Ning took out a space jade from his space ring. Yuan Xing stood up immediately, took the space jade from Len Ning, and gave it to the manager. Try to make some of each kind of materials here, Len Ning said with a smile. The expression on the manager's face froze when he came into contact with the space jade, and then instantly turned into disbelief and ecstasy. Oh my God! So many supplies! It's all meat. All kinds of poultry. There are also seasonings and some precious first-level crop vegetables. And fruit. What delicious fruit! That is. Oh my gosh, there's even wine. Why don't you go down and get ready? Seeing that the manager didn't move, Yuan Xing frowned and raised his voice twice. Oh, yes, I'll resign first. Resign. The manager hurriedly saluted Len Ning, and then ran out in a hurry. What did he see? He was so panicked, someone asked Len Ning with a smile. A flash of emotion flashed in Len Ning's eyes. Haha, just some ordinary things, then he said casually. Seeing that Len Ning didn't answer, no one dared to ask. With this, everyone became much more enthusiastic about the food on the table. Everyone, let's eat these first. We must be hungry after playing all morning. Len Ning greeted everyone and took the lead in picking up the chopsticks. Everyone laughed at Yan Yan and quickly moved their chopsticks. It had been a long time since the students had eaten such delicious food. After using their chopsticks, the excitement that had diminished slightly rose again. Everyone, please wait a little, good things are coming later, Yan Yu suddenly said with a smile. Everyone immediately looked at Yan Yu. There is everything in the Thunder base. Didn't you see how shocked the manager was just now? Yan Yu said and simply put down the chopsticks in his hand. Master Len, just tell everyone, what did you give to the manager? Yan Yu looked at Len Ning with a smile. Since his first visit to the Thunder base, Kuang Lan has been cooperating with teacher Zhang on the subsequent procurement work at the Thunder base. What's more, the person who actually handled it was actually him. He often reads the reports on vegetable categories, so he naturally knows the strength of the vegetable base. There were also the livestock and poultry factories at Thunder base, which he had seen with his own eyes. And according to the feedback from the purchasing representative, the restaurants at the Thunder base are now able to supply meat. For this reason, he also specifically told the purchasing representative to find a way to bring back some poultry and livestock meat. Unfortunately, I tried twice in a row without success. The feedback received is that the Thunder base strictly limits the supply of meat, and the meat that each restaurant or individual can buy is very limited. In order to prevent residents from conducting private transactions with purchasing representatives from other bases, Thunder Base has formulated regulations. If residents are found to have engaged in such behavior, they will be severely punished. In severe cases, they may even be expelled from Thunder Base. Those people are living a good life now and are deeply proud of themselves as residents of the Thunder Base. Even if the procurement representatives from the outer base want to buy meat supplies from them at high prices, they are not willing, or unwilling to take the risk. Just 2 days ago, it was discovered that the purchasing representative of Tanlang Base entrusted the residents of Thunder Base to buy meat supplies. This incident was later reported to the Thunder Base, and the vegetable base directly reduced the supply of vegetable grains to the Tanlang Base. At the same time, procurement representatives from major bases are restricted to only being accompanied by military personnel, and are not allowed to stay in the Thunder Base for more than 4 hours at a time. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 420. Then, the residents of the Thunder Base involved were actually expelled from the Thunder Base, and the Thunder officially announced that they would never accept them again. For such severe punishment and warning, no base dared to stand up and condemn the Thunder Base. Even the residents in the Thunder Base fully supported the Thunder Military Department's handling of the traitors. Yes, they called the people who committed the crime traitors. According to their thinking, the residents of Thunder Base can eat meat as a benefit given to them by the military. However, the traitors sell the benefits provided by the military for their own selfish desires. This is infringing on the interests of the entire base and betraying the people who protect them. Base. Traitors should be punished, even if they are kicked out of the base. In short, after that, all the major bases restrained themselves and no longer dared to seek out the residents of Thunder for sex. After he learned the news, he immediately asked the purchasing representative to stop the attempt. Everyone also looked at Len Ning, including Zhang Huai. Len Ning put down his chopsticks and glanced around the crowd. He said calmly, "Just some chicken, duck, fish, cattle, sheep, pigs, and rabbits. I have the habit of storing supplies. I have saved all kinds of ingredients. Oh, by the way, there are also some fruits, vegetables, and drinks in it." The student's eyes widened. Chicken and duck. Cattle, sheep, pigs, and rabbits. Fruit. Drinks. How many good things are stored in Len Ning's space jade? Aren't these things supposed to exist only before the end of the world? Not only the classmates, but Zhang Huai was also a little shocked. According to Yan Yu's description, he probably knows that Len Ning is not what it used to be. There are countless supplies in hand, and the Thunder Base is currently the most prosperous base in City A. But now it seems that he still underestimated the strength of Len Ning and Thunder Base. Those precious meats seem to be ordinary here in Len Ning. Yeah, Len Ning nodded. Just listening to it, I can't help but drool, a classmate said exaggeratedly. Me too. I haven't had any meat or fish in months. Another classmate followed. Same thing. I always dream about eating pig's feet. For a while, everyone expressed their expectations for meat. Yuan Xing smiled and reassured everyone, saying that everyone could have a good meal later. After everyone learned that there was a real feast to eat, even if they were very hungry, they did not touch the food on the table, just waiting to feast on it later. After a while, the manager finally came in. Behind him were 2 waiters pushing a food cart. Glancing at the untouched food on the table, the manager bowed to Len Ning and said, "Master Len, the kitchen has prepared a few dishes. I will arrange to deliver them to you first." "Yeah. By the way, take these off the table," Len Ning said calmly. Yes, the manager stood up and immediately looked at a waiter. The waiter came immediately to get the food. At the same time, another waiter removed the lids covering the dishes. The smell of meat spread instantly, and all the students' eyes turned to the delicious dishes in the dining car. Red braised pork, a classmate couldn't control his emotions and stood up and shouted. Fish-flavored shredded pork. Steamed pork ribs. Several more classmates stood up and called out the names of several dishes. Ahem. Zhang Huai calmed down and coughed twice to remind everyone to pay attention. The students swallowed again, smiled awkwardly, and sat back. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 421. Put it down and go down, and bring the other dishes as soon as possible, Len Ning said to the manager, who looked at the dishes with straight eyes. Yes. The manager reluctantly withdrew his gaze and swallowed a sip of saliva. Master Len, by the way, you gave us too many ingredients, we can't use them all. Can. Looking at Len Ning's expressionless face, the manager couldn't finish his words. Len Ning frowned slightly. I won't let you use up all the food. I'll arrange some stew for the afternoon and we'll eat it here in the evening then, he said. When everyone heard this, they were so happy. I can still have a big meal in the evening, so happy. But I can't finish the meal at night. The manager gave Len Ning a flattering smile, and finally plucked up the courage to say, Master Len, can you sell the remaining ingredients to us at Ruyahua? There are so many good things, I'm really greedy. In the kitchen just now, he almost listened to the opinions of his subordinates and just took out half of it and took it off. Suddenly the room was quiet. The manager's heart trembled and he wanted to slap himself twice. Is he crazy? Who is Hall Master Len? Will she be short of money? What did he say? But, he doesn't do this, just in case. Ahem. Manager Chin, go down and help arrange the dishes. At the critical moment, Zhang Huai stepped forward to help the manager understand the situation. Yes, the manager immediately expressed his gratitude to Zhang Huai, and then hurriedly withdrew. After the manager and the waiter left the room, Len Ning withdrew his gaze and continued to use his chopsticks. When everyone saw this, their tense hearts relaxed. Yan Yu poured wine and livened up the atmosphere. Soon, everyone at the table forgot about the unpleasant episode, complimented Len Ning, and continued to enjoy the meal. Len Ning also cooperated by pretending to be silly and enjoying everyone's adulation. When the table was filled with sumptuous dishes, suddenly there was another knock on the door. Everyone just thought it was another waiter who came to deliver food. Yan Yu shouted at the door, "Come in." Who would have known that the person coming in would be Zhang Lin? I saw that Zhang Lin had changed into a suit and was dressed exquisitely, as if he were a rich man. Zhang Lin's appearance made everyone in the room tense, including Zhang Huai. "I've seen you, young master." Everyone stood up and saluted Zhang Lin, including Zhang Huai. Zhang Lin didn't even look at the crowd and walked towards the dining table with a smile. "Miss Leng." Zhang Lin's eyes narrowed when he saw the dishes on the table in front of him. He originally wanted to invite Len Ning to dine with him next door, but now he can't do it anyway. Just over half an hour ago, his people found a very rich batch of ingredients in the kitchen, which even contained a large amount of meat, fresh fruits, and even fine wine. He originally thought that now he had the capital to invite Len Ning to have lunch with him, but who knew that the delicacies on the table in front of him were not inferior to those found by his men. In fact, the fruits and wine bottles looked so familiar. Zhang Lin's expression changed slightly, and he suddenly had some bad thoughts. Manager Chin refused to use those supplies to cook for him, saying that the supplies belonged to an extremely important guest. He thought he was lying. Now it seemed that what he said was true, and the important guest turned out to be Len Ning. Thinking that Manager Chin was the popular person around his second uncle, he didn't take action against him. After Manager Chin agreed to give him some ingredients, he let his men stop. Now that I think about it, something is really wrong. Damn it! Zhang Lin wanted to scold his mother.